Alrighty, after a lot of preparation and testing for many of the teams here, we have finally gotten to the opening round here at Sebring Raceway for Race 1 of the Trans Am International Challenge. Welcome everyone to the opening race here today. Qualifying is already completed. They're right now wrapping up happy hour. We'll get to the race here in just a moment. But looks like today we should be in for a good show. If anyone was back here at Sonoma, a lot of improvements have been made since, especially on the grid side of things. A lot of teams are now wrapping up their first happy hour laps, more or less just a warm-up right now. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the qualifying results. Even though there's a Pro and Am class split, the grid has pretty nicely mixed themselves up. It's Alexander Gonzalez Green on your on pole today, but it's Rossi in the number 46, one of the newer entries since that Sonoma test. In the AM class, it's gone themselves on the outside pole. Gustavo Zadolfo second will be starting off third today. Eduardo Gonzalez and one of the newcomers in P4. George Uriarte P5, Lewis P6. That's a whole new team entirely of the SCR program. Scuderia Carmona Racing has entered a 3-car program into this one. Anthony McClure P7, Thomas Johnson P8, Oasis and LK Waterfountains round out the top 10. Ethan Mingalelli P11, Bryson Miller P12, Bailey Dog will start us off P13th, Winty Wolf P14, Evan Brown P16, Yenri Zarus P16. After that's Hazel Albright, Caleb Bevan, Kyle Larson, The Orb, and ETE. So that is the qualifying order. We're about to get to this race momentarily here. Should be a good show today. SCR already off to some early struggles at the moment with two of their cars starting off towards the back, but that will be something they'll have to work on today. Here's a quick look at the fast facts for today's race. It's going to be a 28-lapper, first race of the season. There's going to be 2 types of tires and fuel. This will be the case for all races this season. It's the only time we're going to show this graphic, however, for now. The big thing, though, today, especially on restarts and the opening lap, look out for turn number 5. That's been the most aggressive point for drivers all session long. I think that's where our big issues are going to sit. So that's what they're going to have to look out for here today, as we see with a few more cars. There's Bryson Miller and 17 making their way through. There's the Orb. He's got a pretty good starting position here for today's race. Never mind, I was wrong. I lied to you. He's actually starting. That's the happy hour practice. I know how things work. Let's see, where is he going to be starting at? He's going to be starting 20th. Okay, so I was wrong on both cases. He's going to be starting off terribly tonight, but he'll have a long race to try and climb back. Got the Peugeot there in the number 54, the second fastest here in happy hour, but this is just the warm-up, basically, before the main show begins. Both the Peugeots have been looking really strong here in the happy hour sessions thus far. A quick look at where they qualified. Both of them in the top 10, so a good start to the season for Peugeot, at least, even though we haven't really taken the green flag yet. Alrighty, I think only 40 seconds left before we get rolling on here. I think we might as well, considering we have a pace lap ahead of us to work through. We're just going to go ahead and skip it. We're just going to go right to the action. I feel like we are ready. I went too fast, but that's fine. We're not going to worry about that. So as the field gets themselves prepared now, we have a race on our own. There's Alexander Gonzalez Green in the Pontiac number 18. He is our pole sitter tonight, but it's the number 46 in the AM class who start alongside him. So a few of the AM cars are showing some pro speed here early on. That number 46 of Alexander Rossi is going to be one of them, as is one of them cars leading the charge. Eduardo Gonzalez right now, the other AM car in this top 5 right here as well. So 2 AM cars making themselves known here early on. So Gonzalez Adolphus second. He'll be rolling off third today in that Ford Mustang. After that, we see George Uriarte and Lewis Hamilton right there. After that, it's the 2 Peugeots followed by the 2 water fountains, Oasis and LK each. Etwan Mingalelli and Bryson Miller bring up the next row. We have Winty Wolf and Bailey Dog after that. Yenri Zarus and Evan Brown, Kalen Bevan and Hazel Albright, The Orb and Larson, and then Yiffy E rounds out. So A lot of work to do for the two SCR Corvettes in the back, the number 5 in AM, the 83 in Pro. They're going to be the ones that I'm going to take quite a look at today, see really where they shape up. But right now, they're starting to get ready. They're going they got one little bit through the S's here on the back straightaway, and then we are going to go racing. 21 cars in total, 10 in Pro, 11 in AM. We'll see who comes out on top in both tonight. 28 laps is what's ahead of us. I'm running out of things to say. I thought that I really need to... Again, this is our first official race broadcast. Usually I have someone in here with me to talk shit with, so I can get, like, practice at happy hour and all that long, but we just jumped straight into the race today. I have no idea what I'm doing, as you can tell. I know how things work. Definitely not. Yeah, two of the top 5 are Fords, 1 Pontiac, and then the rest are Corvettes. A lot of Corvettes in the field today. All the Chevy teams, barring Golden Empire Motorsports, they are all Corvettes minus the two DeWalt cars there in the back. Those two are running off of Camaros. But here they are. Pace car is going to roll off here. 21 cars have made their way to the start-finish line. And it is go time. The Trans Am Championship is finally underway here at Sebring. The race is on, and it is a good start by that 18. You see the 3 of Winty Wolf already going 3 wide to the inside. Into turn number 1 they go. Through the opening corner. Couple cars really fanning out there towards the back, and there's contact already. I think that was Kalen Bevan in one of the Camaros. It was Evan Brown. No safety car just yet. Both of them getting back going for the most part. But there's definitely damage. I love it. And more trouble. Ethan Mingalelli, Winty Wolf, Yenri Zarus. A chaotic start to this opening lap. And as they make their way down in turn 5, this is what was considered the trouble area. But we've had half the field out of trouble before we even got here. Through the opening set of corners they go. Everyone has gone off. There goes the 18 around. More trouble in the back. As it gets all screen started from pole, he's lost several positions now. One of the water fountains, that's the number 10, having a hard time off. Still no safety car, surprisingly. I'm not quite sure why that's the case. Gustavus Adolphus II to the lead, but he's got damage on that front end. And there's one big off there. That's Valentino Rossi hard into the barriers. I have cautions on. There should have been a safety car for that. This game is deciding to just not throw it for whatever reason. So that's going to be our first retirement of the day there. Hard hit for that 46. More trouble back here. That's between the two Golden Empire Camaros there. Teammates getting into it a little bit. Winty Wolf now trying to squeeze his way. Trying to recover from that rough start there in turn 2. I think we finally calmed down after whatever that was. I feel like the safety car should have been thrown 2 or 3 times before that. But despite of all of that chaos, I think we're good. No safety car, surprisingly, but it's George Uriarte in the number 24 Hangover Autosport Corvette who leads us away. Gustavus Adolphus II leading right behind in that Marlboro Ford, and then it's the 2 Peugeots, 3rd and 4th. Both of them have done a really good job at avoiding the chaos here up at the front. And that is the opening lap completed. 1 down, 27 more to go. And that number 24 currently has a good spot. We see that Peugeot there of Anthony McClure gets the inside of Gustavus Adolphus II. Tries to take that position away. We know that 14's carrying a lot of damage on him at the moment after that contact in turn 5. But he's doing a good job at defending his place right now on track. We see Eduardo Gonzalez right now peeking in a little bit. He's got the number 1 SCR Corvette right behind him as well. Bailey Dog P7. Yiffy Yi P8. He started all the way at the back. Great start for him today. Bryce Miller P9, and then the Orb also started at the back. He started in P20 to start this race. He finds himself in the top 10. More chaos off the start there. Everyone just really struggling through turn 5. Alexander Gonzalez Green gets hit a second time around. Gets it back going. Still green for the most part. Once the field spreads out, turn 5 won't be a big of an issue, but when they're packed together still, everyone tries to fit into one space. It doesn't really quite work out as well as intended. The road course I&I setups can be a little weird like that sometimes. To get them racing good all the way around, there's going to be a corner or two where it's going to be a little difficult to try and iron out. We see Larson there peeking on the inside of LK. That's for P12 right now. Couldn't quite get to the inside. He'll have to try to fight back and regroup. Kalen Bevan was the first car to have issues right out of the gate here after turn 1. He's found himself just outside the top 10 despite that. So good recovery on these on this opening stage here. The Orb right now hanging on to the top 10. One of the Peugeots, Anthony McClure, runs a little wide out of the corner there. He gets back going. No issue though. Just a little bit of grass. No effort anyone. Thomas Johnson in P3. Out of the sweeper, back onto the front straightaway. It's still George Uriarte's race to lose right now as he makes his way onto the third lap of the race. Valentino Rossi, we see there in the garage. His day might be over at this point. Alexander Gonzalez-Green started this race on pole. He's going to find himself all the way in 20th after 2 very rough opening laps. But we know there's speed under that 18. I don't see any major damage. We'll have to see how he can work back through that. Still a long way to go in this race. Pit cycles and whatnot pertaining. Oasis Water Fountain right now fighting with Ethan Mingalelli there for P17, right on the back bumper of that Alfa Romeo. As they're going to make their way now towards turn 5 through this very opening fast sweeper, almost a straightaway with how much speed you have to carry through it. Past the Mobile 1 bridge, they're going to go here. You can see Ethan's going to look to the inside here, side by side, into turn 5. There is a car off. That's one of the SER Corvettes smoking. Let's take a look at who that was. That was Lewis. And now he's going to be out of this race. Maybe not. There might be some hope of them getting that car back out on track, but the damage that I saw that one there, that might be it for them. His 2 teammates, however, right now under fire here in the back half of this field. You got Winty Wolf always finding himself in the show areas of this race so far. We're still very early on into it, but he continues to find himself where all the action is right now, trying to get that Corvette through this field slowly but surely. Kalen Bevan up in the top 10 now after that incident. And now, well, earlier we saw Anthony McClure try to get around that 14. Now his teammate, Thomas Johnson's going to try to get the job done. Down the back straightaway, they're going to go into the final corner. He's going to stay behind that 14 for now. Doesn't think it's quite the right time to make a move. Oh, he's going to give him the bumper a little bit, actually. Tries to make that work. Not quite, though. The 14 hangs on. And he's going to hold on to that position. So a little bit of aggression there by that Peugeot in the number 94. Really wanting to get that second place. Tries to make it to the outside. The 14's going to put the block on him through there. Through turn 1 they go. And George Uriarte is loving what he is seeing in his rearview mirror right now. That's going to give him more and more space to try and breathe and try to coast his way to the end of this race here as they make their way through turns 2 and 3 now. Still all over the back bumper of that 14, trying to see where he can make a move. Just not quite enough space to really make a dive to the inside. He might get an opportunity here into turn 5. Rossi is confirmed out of this. I assume the same is going to be the same for Hamilton here pretty soon. Through turn 5, and the 14's going to go wide. There he goes. Had a feeling that was going to happen with how aggressive the 94 has been. And a few more cars join the fray. That's the number 11. One of the Alfa Romeos is in it. One of the Camaros. And that is Larson in it as well. More Troms now. That's Hazel Albright that was involved in that one. They are able to drive away for the most part. Why are you not doing your job? You have one job. We've had 3 safety car worthy incidents in 3 laps and you are just sitting there. God damn you. So it seems like the safety car is not exactly cooperating with us today, even though they're on. Yellow flags are set to on. I don't know why it's deciding to be the way that it is. Alexander Gonzalez-Green, he's found himself back up into some traffic after those first 2 difficult laps. Right now, he's fighting with the 11 we just saw involved in that big one in turn 5. And he's going to slot himself right in between. But for that number 24 of George Uriarte, it has been a smooth sailing since the end of lap 1 there. Avoided the chaos at the start. He's got himself all the space he needs to try and cruise away with it. Good race for both of the Peugeots as well. Bailey Dog right now finds himself into the top 3. As well, we see one of the Corvettes in the back, one of the SCR ones, making their way into the pit lane for repairs. And that number 3, despite the damage to that Corvette, is still fighting with everything he's got. The aggression that they have shown this race has been astounding for the most part. Now they're going to try to make this move on Evan Brown here. This is for P8. He can't quite get the job done. He'll have to slot in behind yet again. A little more battle going on further back there for 14th. And here they come back into turn 5. The trouble area is what we've begun to know it for now. Gustav Zadolf second got bumped out the way by the Peugeot last time around here. This time, no problems for him. And this time, big squeeze there. The 18 forcing it 3 wide through turn number 5. And it's going to stay 3 wide as they make their way through these S's now. Who's going to get it now as they go into the braking zone? It looks like the 11's going to back off just slightly. Never mind. Nope, can't quite make the job done. He'll back out of it. He's going to be the big loser of that 3-car fight. And Alexander Gonzalez-Green, despite the squeeze, gets 2 more positions out of it. We see Larson, the car that pit a lap ago. He's now back out on track, albeit missing a hood. So he will continue on for the time being. Thomas Johnson slowly been working on that number 24, trying to keep in contact with that Hangover Autosport Corvette right now. Still early on in the race, only 5 laps in, not even over the quarter of the way yet. But you don't want to let him get a little too comfortable. Allow him to take a whole pit stop and not worry about what you'll have to do later on. Obviously, pit strategy will come into effect as this later on. Anthony McClure, meanwhile, trying to join his teammate in the top 3. But Bailey Dog doing a good job covering off the speed behind of that Pro car. Right now, leading the M class as it stands right now. So she's want to continue to try to do a good job of holding on that position. We see the 3 of Winty Wolf in the background. He's been forced to come on down to the pit lane. And you know Bailey Dog wants to keep this car in between her right now and the next M car of Eduardo Gonzalez in P5. So there is a reason why she's fighting a different class car as hard as she is right now, not only because the Pro Championship is more the overall championship, M cars still apply to that as well, but in terms of the AM Championship specifically, there is a competitor right there, right behind her, and she wants to try and go ahead and be the winner for the opening round for this class. See, the Orb right now, slowly been working away through his race. He's found himself in a P6, currently working on through there, and we see must have been some contact there between Bailey Dog and Anthony McClure, because he's now been sent off wide, but that allows Eduardo Gonzalez to try to make a move at it here. He wants to see if he can get around that Peugeot side by side into the corner they go. I think McClure has it covered off. Yes, he does. He'll hold on to P4 for the time being, try and remount a charge back on that number 69 Ford Mustang. Gustav Sadolf II, despite the interesting race he's had so far, he's still right now chilling in the top 10. Currently P7 as it stands right now. So there is still a path forward for that interdimensional racing Ford Mustang and that Marlboro paint scheme. Still a long ways to go in this race. So, I want to say this is going to be a 2-stopper today. I'm not exactly certain on that. But we shall go ahead and find out. Winty Wolf back out on track right now, P18 with his damage. And as we were looking at the battle behind, somewhere in between, Thomas Johnson has gotten the move done on George Uriarte. That is for the lead. You see George right now try to see if he can sneak to the inside of the 94 through the final sweeper there. Can't quite do it yet. And that's a Peugeot leading here at Sebring. As we go on to lap number 7 here. And blocks off the run on the outside by that number 24 Corvette. We know how aggressive he could be. In fact, George gets the inside out of turn number 1, side by side. They go into the turn 2 hairpin. Using up all the curb that he can, but it ain't gonna be enough. And ain't gonna be enough. Thomas Johnson still out ahead in the lead. as they make their way through the turn 4 sweeper into the treacherous turn 5 that it's been today. Has already claimed the lives and races of half the field at this point. Right now, can George mount up a move to the inside? He's going to stick behind the 94 for now. He's going to give him a bit of a bump, too. Not enough to phase the Peugeot. He stays out ahead, but someone who is phased, however, is Bailey Dog. Around they go. They get it back going. Lost a couple of places there. Gustavus Adolphus II is forced to take a big action there to avoid contact. Into the grass he's going to go. But he will hold on and hold on to P8 for the time being. We're seeing another car now coming out of pit road. That's Yenri Zerus. That Camaro heavily damaged as well. So with Bailey Dog having an off there, that moves Eduardo Gonzalez to the lead for the AM class, and that's going to be good for him. The next car is Evan Brown, quite a few seconds off behind. He currently sits in P6. Bryson Miller right behind, though. And Bailey Dog slots out right behind them. So 3-car fight between 3 different AM cars right now in the top 10 overall right now at least. Down the back straightaway, the field goes here. As the field's really starting to spread themselves out, which means should be less disastrous stuff happening through turn 5, hopefully. You see George Uriarte really try to see what he can do to get back around that 94. You can tell that Corvette, I think, is a little bit better right now, at least through the corners, straightaway-wise. The Peugeot has the better straight line speed right now. Down the front straightaway into turn number 1 they go. We saw George able to get side-by-side with him on exit last time around. This time the 94 does a good job covering it off. And we see right behind him the other Peugeot, Anthony McClure. He has a problem. That's Eduardo Gonzalez on his bumper now. Eduardo right now leading the AM class right now, but he wants that podium, and he's going to try to see if he can steal it from that number 54. He got the Orb lurking behind in the top 5 right now. Reminder, he started this race all the way back in 20th. So a big climb for that Ford Mustang there. And then there's the big fight here of all the different AM cars right behind them with Ethan Mingalelli and Gustavus Adolphus II, those 2 pro cars in that fray as well. Back up here to the front now, Eduardo Gonzalez gets side-by-side with Anthony McClure here for the podium. And looks like McClure will get the job done. He holds on to third for now. George Uriarte, though, still on the rear bumper of Thomas Johnson, still trying to fight for that lead back. Let's take a little bit further back the field. Let's see what's happening here. Battle for P11 between Oasis Water Fountain and Yiffy Yi, and I think Yi had some sort of problem. Really hard time keeping it off the grass for those last few corners. That's going to allow Oasis to get through there unscathed. And they make their way through these little S-bends here onto the back straightaway. Thomas Johnson still holding on ahead of that number 24. Anthony McClure, P3. Edward Gonzalez, P4. The Orb, P5. Evan Brown, P6. Bryson Miller, P7. Bailey Dog, P8. Ethan Mingalelli rounds out our top 10 right now as we make our way through this final corner, as we're going to come now to 20 laps to go here at Sebring. It is just the opening round, so a lot of the drivers have suffered problems here in these early stages. Nothing too much to worry about right now. There's still a long ways to go before we get to the championship finale at Road Atlanta, so I wouldn't be too worried for them for now. There's still a lot to build off of, but definitely not the way you'd want to start your season out. We see a few. Now these are, I think, are the first of our scheduled pit stops today. Yiffy's coming. Hazel Albright, LK Waterfountain, and Caitlin Bevan are making their first pit stops of the day. A few of them have some damage on them. You see on the hood of the Alfa Romeo first specifically, but this is the first, I believe, planned pit stops that we have seen so far. So that's going to be the big thing to note. Pit stops have begun underway a lot earlier than I would have expected to. This could potentially be a 3-stop race, it looks like. Big wobble there for Evan Brown through turn number 5. Bryson Mills going to take that as an opportunity to try and take that position away, but he's not quite clear yet. That Camaro still on his outside as they make their way here into this hard braking zone here of turn 9. And Evan Brown's gonna hang on despite the issues. Yiffy first out of pit road, and it looks like the big loser here is going to be LK Waterfountain. Some hiccups there on the pit cycle. He's going to be last one out, and quite a ways away from the rest of his competition. And Yi came out quite the interesting time. He's come out right where his teammate has been fighting Enru Zerus. Both of them heavily damaged race cars right now, struggling to go on. So that might be a blessing here. He's going to have a bit of help, at least, trying to hold off any charging cars to the field as they make their way here to turn number 5. But a lot of cars this close together definitely makes you a little bit nervous with how this corner has treated these cars today. But no problems there for now. Leaders coming out of the final corner, and it looks like both of our contenders here are going to pit. Thomas Johnson and George Uriarte have been the cars to beat all day long. They're going to come in for their first stops. Anthony McClure will inherit the race lead. M-Class leader Eduardo Gonzalez comes in as well. The Orb joins them as well. Bryson Miller, Ethan Mingalelli, Gustav Zadolf's second in a pit road. Oasis Waterfountain, our pole sitter AGG in. So pit stops fully underway here at Sebring, but it is Anthony McClure who stayed out. He leads for one more lap. Evan Brown yet to pit. Bailey Dog yet to pit as well. So busy work here on the pit lane. George Uriarte, watch him right here on the center of the screen. You got the Peugeot that he came on with on your left, and it looks like the Peugeot a lot quicker on the tire changing side of things, but his box did come earlier. Not a lot of fuel on that Peugeot. He's going to come out. He's going to come out ahead of that Corvette, so once this cycles around, unless his teammate can pull a big pit strategy out, it should be Thomas Johnson first out of the box. The Orb comes out second. Where does George Uriarte comes out? Not even third. He's going to come out of pit road fourth, so a big loss there for that number 24. Not a great pit cycle for them, and that's going to be a really difficult thing for them to try and recover from. We know things like pit road can really impact how good some of these driver races can be, especially ones like these where they run green for a long while, because that means your pit crew has to perform as best as they can, because those pit cycles is what's going to impact the race the most. Not a lot of safety cars to fall back on, even in a chaotic race like this. You need to execute on pit road, and for that 24 team, they just have not. Anthony McClure is your leader right now. He has yet to pit. Neither has Evan Brown, Bailey Dog. Those four, we'll have to wait and see. Thomas Johnson's come out fifth right now, so we'll have to look and see where these four stack up after the fact. Through the final corner for Anthony McClure. Does he come in this time? Yep, here he comes. So we need to check where this 54 is going to come out in comparison to his teammate. Evan Brown and Bailey Dog coming in as well. There goes these three. There's one more that stayed out, but I think that might have been Bryson. No, not Bryson. Who was the last one that stayed out? Maybe I'm schizophrenic. Maybe it was 3 cars that only stayed out that first time around. But we see here Anthony McClure coming down pit road to his box. And now looking at that background, seeing where his teammate is going to come right now. He is right now making his way into the final corner. Can Anthony McClure jump from what was 4th before the pit cycles began to the lead, putting on right sides now? But it looks like Thomas Johnson's going to beat him out. So will, looks like the Orb and a few others, as he comes out of pit road now. And Thomas Johnson's going to beat him out. Yes, he will. The Orb won't, however. He's all the way back there, but he will reset third. So after pit cycles, it is a Peugeot 1-2 here at Sebring. They looked like they were having a lot of struggles back at our preseason test at Sonoma, but whatever adjustments they've made in these last 2 weeks since have definitely paid off. They currently find themselves here at the front. The Orb P3, Bryson Miller P4, Bailey Dog P5, Evan Brown P6, and George Uriarte, your biggest loser out of the pit cycles, now all the way down to P6. So lots of digging for that Corvette to try and do here, and he's putting the horn already to some of the cars in front, gives the bumper to to Evan Brown there, and that gives him the position. So you can already tell he is not happy with how this race is cycled out. He's going to have a lot of work there to do. But for the Peugeots, perfect execution for them, and they find themselves up at the front. Last car running right now is LK Waterfowl in P19. They're right now in turn 5 as the leaders currently make their way through the S's before the final hairpin. Not final hairpin, final back straightaway, I mean. There could be the potential of lap car traffic to play a part later on in this race. We're currently on lap 11 of 28. Still a long ways to go in this one right now. You see George Uriarte still digging to try and recover. He's now caught the back bumper of Bailey Dog right now as they make their way through the final corner on to the back straightaway. And just way more grip out of that Corvette right now. Comes out side by side. I think he was a little bit ahead. But can he make the pass complete before they get to the sweeper? It looks like he's clear. And yes, he is. George Uriarte up another place. Trying to regain those positions he lost earlier on. See Eduardo Gonzalez making the move on Evan Brown. That's going to be a crucial place there in the class standings. It's right now Bryson Miller, your class leader here, right now sitting in 4th. But right up ahead, the Orb has caught one of the two Peugeots. That is the 54. And this is going to be the battle for 2nd. Former tow car driver. Right now, he's made the jump over here to compete in the road courses in the time being. With Anthony McClure right now trying to hold him off, trying to hold on to that 2nd place, trying to make this a Peugeot 1-2. Where that Ford Mustang is not going to go quietly right now into turn number 5. And he's going to give him a little bit of a bump there, runs him off into the grass. Can McClure hang on? No, he cannot. The Orb with a big aggressive move, using the bumper, it looked like. Got the job done, but now McClure is going to try to fight back on the outside. The Zero is going to put the block on him, though. A little bit more contact. These two racing really hard for this position here on lap number 12. Through these S's they go. And the Orb holds the position ahead of Anthony McClure right now. We see Bryce Miller sitting a little further back. He's got a charging George Uriarte right behind him a few seconds back that he's going to have to worry about here pretty soon. And at the base of the former military runway here, as they make their way through these sets of S's onto the back straightaway. And right now, the Orb currently holding on. Does McClure have anything for him? We know how good the Peugeots are on straight line speed. It's going to be the cornering that we saw that Uriarte was able to hold off against better. Will that be a similar case before the Orb? It looks like we see the 54 getting really close there through the sweeper. Down the front straightaway they go now. What does that Peugeot have in his possession? Through turn number 1, a bit of a wobble there by the number 0. That allows Anthony McClure to get to the inside. Side by side now for 2nd place. Into turn number 2 they go. And the Orb yet again able to use that power on the outside to defend. In the meanwhile, he's not letting go of this position. It's been a really hard-fought battle between both these cars for quite a few laps now. But you see it right there. You see a little bit further ahead, the McClure's teammate Thomas Johnson has been using this advantage to just pull away. Now this time it's the number 54 giving the bumper to the Orb, but can the Orb hang on side by side through turns 6 and 7? And I don't think so. I think it's going to be McClure ahead. Nope, the Orb hangs on, still side by side, into turn number 8. Neither one of these cars giving up this position for now. McClure edges out ahead, and this time he clears him. Anthony McClure back up into 2nd place. Great battle between these two cars here so far. There are still more pit stops to come. This pit stop cycle start all the way back at lap 8. There's no way they can make it to the end from here. as they make their way onto the back straightaway now. Can McClure finally break away, or does the Orb have anything left for them? Their battle they've had has allowed Bryce and Miller to kind of slow the game, but look up further back. Battle for 5th place, George Arte. Well, he muscled away around those AM cars. One of them has stayed glued to him, and that is Eduardo Gonzalez. He has now found himself on the back bumper of that number 24. This is a battle for the top 5, right on the back bumper of that 24. I think he gives him a little bit of a shot through there, but George hangs on. It looks like they might try it side by side here down the front straightaway as they take lap number 13. You've got Bailey Dog and Evan Brown waiting in the wings in case this battle goes a certain way. Giorgio Arte, really good turn 1. Not as good, though, for Eduardo Gonzalez. He gets a little bit wide there. That's going to cost him some ground into turn number 2. That might actually allow Bailey Dog to make a potential overtake here in a couple corners' time. Not a lot of overtakes you can do through this section here. You kind of have to hold on and wait until you get to turn number 5. That's your first big overtaking opportunity as they make their way out of the turn 4 sweeper. Down the straightaway they go into turn number 5. Now, does Bailey Dog have a look to the inside? No, she doesn't. But she gives the 50 a tap, who then asks Constantino's into the 24. I think everyone got a biz contact through there, but surprisingly, no incident to really note of. But it does make it a side-by-side battle between Bailey Dog and Giorgio Arte now. So an aggressive move by the 69, got the 50 out the way, and potentially might allow her to get around the 24. 2 rows of side-by-side here in this 4-car melee for 5th. And Bailey Dog gets the job done. Evan Brown to follow her in on that inside line to try and take away P6. Giorgio Arte, though, won't allow it. He gets that position. Eduardo Gonzalez, meanwhile, trying to see if he can get something out of this. He's lost 2 positions in this fight, with both the 69 and soon to be the 51 getting around him here. And I think they might have finally got this calmed down, or does that 51 have anything left in them to get around that Corvette? Looks like he does. They're still going to stay side by side through the corner here. See a couple other cars there further in the back hanging on, a lot of them with damage with the way this race has gone on. No real big surprise there. Side by side into the sweeper. And looks like Evan Brown can get the power down. Looks like they might almost make it a 3-wide move there. And Warren Gonzalez thought about it for a minute, decided to slot in behind the 24 instead. Down the straightaway they go. George is going to put the block on both of them, and I think Eduardo Gonzalez got clear of the 51 and got clear of that position, but Eduardo Gonzalez makes another mistake, slides up. That allows Evan Brown to get back on that inside into turn number 2. Every time you think he's got the job done, just something else happens that allows him to get right back on that fight. All 4 of these cars have been having that experience right now in this 5th place battle. No dives to the inside here. I think everyone's preferred getting a little bit more aggressive to this corner. As we see Eduardo Gonzalez do just that, and he sends the 24 around. A good day has gone bad, and now to worse for the 24. With this time with help from the number 50, although not a a Hangover Autosport car. They run an alliance with that independent team there, so definitely going to be a difficult Monday morning for those two to go through after that bit of contact. Bailey Dog right now, I'm going to try to take this as an opportunity to try and pull away. That contact has also allowed Evan Brown to get back on the offensive of Eduardo Gonzalez, so that battle still raging for now, and he's going to get clear of the 50 and pull away. Calm race for the most part. Outside of that right now, everyone's kind of found themselves on a bit of an island. Even the battle that was originally for second has kind of calmed down now. The Orb gently sits only a couple tenths behind the Peugeot there. Eduardo Gonzalez right now still behind Evan Brown here. I think there's enough space for them to try and spend a few laps trying to work this out here for now. We'll see how that comes. So we're about 3 or 4 laps away from the next cycle of pit stops. There is a chance you could make it to the end on that second cycle. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Hazel Albright fighting Yiffy for 13th place right now, the SCR Corvette against the Golden Empire Camaro. In a turn one, and they go there, see Wincy Wolf, the first taker on pit road. However, he was one of those cars that had to come in early the first time around due to damage. So, while he is the first taker on the second stint, that's more due to his misfortune in the first. So, can't quite say that we are pit stop ready just yet. But since the pit cycle has came around, it has been Thomas Johnson in dominating fashion here, much like Giorgio Arte in the first stint. Well, we know what happened at 24. One bad pit stop, that sent him into the back in traffic, and that traffic ended up wiping him out a second time there. So, while it's definitely safe to assume that's been a pretty comfortable spot for the Peugeots right now, you don't want to give that up just yet. One mistake, especially on pit road here in a few laps, that could flip your race on upside down, like what we saw with the 24. The Orb has been waiting in the wings in the top 3 here for quite a while now. He wants to try and get a shot at this race win. Bryson Miller, your leader in the AM class right now in P4. There's even a possibility for him to make a big splash, potentially with getting a podium in that Dodge. Bailey Dog and Evan Brown, though, only a few seconds behind. They can mix things up. Same for Eduardo Gonzalez. So, four AM cars in the top 10 right in this race so far. Pretty impressive for those drivers there. The next one is the Oasis Water Fountain in P11. Let's take a quick look at the top 10 right now while we're at it. Obviously, we already talked about Thomas Johnson, your race leader. Both the Peugeots have had a really good day so far. Avoid the chaos at the start, got good pit stops, and found themselves 1-2 right now. The Orb in P3 for interdimensional racing. Bryson Miller, already mentioned how he leads the AM with Bailey Dog not too far behind P5. They've had a pretty solid day in that Ford Mustang, with Evan Brown right behind them. Eduardo Gonzalez has had quite the controversial day, and more things to say less. Always found himself involved in some sort of incident, while he finds himself right now P7. Giorgio Arte started at the front, avoid the early chaos, led the entirety of the first stint, with a little bit of a battle between him and Thomas Johnson later on before the first set of pit stops. Not a good pit cycle for them, though. That caused them to get stuck in traffic, and later has now found themselves in P8. Not how this race you thought you would go for Giorgio Arte when they saw that first run. Same case for Gustavus Adolphus II. Started up at the front, but early issues in that opening chaos has sent them back. They've slowly clawed back to P9. Speaking of slowly clawing themselves back to P9, Alexander Gonzalez-Green started this race on pole, got caught up in that first wreck in turn 5 on the opening lap, got caught up in another, the very next one, fell all the way down to 20th at one point, but now they have slowly and surely been working their way back up. They found themselves back in the top 10. Their race isn't quite over yet. They still have 12 and a little more laps to figure this out. They might be able to salvage a decent finish here at the end of this race. Oasis Water Fountain, P11, has been a quiet day for them. Same for Hazel Albright in P12, Yiffy in P13. Ethan Mingalelli, P14 right now. Kalen Bevan has had a rough day going of it so far. Caught up in incident after incident. He sits 15th. LK Water Fountain in P16 right now. We don't know what happened to the 17th place car, but they are missing. Winter Wolf P18, Kyle Larson P19, Yenri Zerus was a 17th place car. I believe he just came off pit road. That might have been the issue. But still, no call from the leaders yet. They just crossed the line to 11 to go. That pit road, though, is looming and waiting in the distance. One last set of pit stops soon to come. All while we've been talking about this, a battle has still been going on between Evan Brown and Bailey Dog. These two have still been going at it here for that top 5 spot, and it's reignited yet again with Evan Brown poking to the inside through turn 1. Couldn't quite get the move done. Bailey Dog still out ahead for now. It's been a really good job of blocking those runs by that Camaro through this second stint for Bailey Dog to hold on to that top 5. But right now, how impatient is that Camaro getting with all these moves? gives her a little bit of a shot there through turn number 5, but they do a good job of hanging on. Bailey Dog still out ahead for now. Evan Brown will have to try and regroup and re-attack yet again. And looks like we could have a battle for 9th on our hands as well between Gustavus Adolphus II and Alexander Gonzalez Green. Had a little bit of a peak in there in turn 5, and now he'll have to regroup as well. So, few cars might be pushing here late before final pit stop. We saw Ethan Mingalelli there in pit road. This battle for 5th, though, still right on top of each other right now. Evan Brown trying to see what he can do to get around that number 69 as they make their way onto the back straightaway here. We're going to go back up to the front, though. When will they make their pit stops here as they make their way through the final corner, coming to 10 laps to go here at Sebring? Thomas Johnson stays out a little while longer. Anthony McClure stays out. So does the Orb. So not this time around for the leaders. Evan Brown right on the back bumper of Bailey Dog. However, right now, this battle is still very much ongoing, as it seems. We see that 51 really close to that 69 as they make their way to turn 1. Does he take a move to the inside? No. Lets the 69 cover him off through there, and I think that's a bit of a wobble out of the 51. Yes, it is. He's going to lose some time there as well. Just keeps getting right to the back bumper of that 69. We know the 51 has a faster car. He just can't quite get that move done, and it has been costing him lap after lap in terms of that battle with the M-Class leader, Bryson Miller. Into turn number 5, yet again they go. We see Eduardo Gonzalez has slowly just been sitting there waiting to see what happens with these two. Waiting in the wings in case something big happens for him to take advantage of. Evan Brown side by side now with Bailey Dog. Can he finally get the move done? Into turn number 8 now. On the inside. We see Bailey Dog have to use a bit of the curve, but I think that's going to be it. Yes, he does. Finally gets the job done. Evan Brown into the top 5 here at Sebring. Meanwhile, further back, battle now for that 9th place position between Alexander Gonzalez Green and Gustavus Adolphus II. AGG gets the job done. Now we'll see if he can try to catch up to the 24 of George Uriarte. Back to the leaders as they make their way now, coming to 9 to go. We have that. We've been at one. We've been itching that question. When's the final pit stop going to come? We saw the 33 was the first taker. No, 33 and 3, but the 3 doesn't really count because it was due to damage. But let's see. Through the corner they go. And here it is. Final pit stops are underway. Thomas Johnson, first strike from the lead. Anthony McClure comes in as well. So does the Orb. So all of the top 3 pitting at the same time. We see Bryson Miller in as well. Evan Brown in. Bailey Dog in. Eduardo Gonzalez in. So the entire top 7 all pitting at the same time. So the only big difference here is going to be between them and their pit crews. AGG, George Uriarte, Gustavus Adolphus II in. LK Waterphone. All of the top 11 in the pit lane right now. No one has stayed out to try and get themselves a lap around. Yiffy Yee on in. So the top 12 all in pit road now. It's going to be a very busy pit lane. And we're going to take a look at the 2 Peugeots. That's what we want to see right now. See Thomas Johnson out first. How far behind will Anthony McClure be? Getting fuel in the car. I think there was a problem there on them. Very long waiting on the fuel half of things. Still waiting once more. See the Orb out. Evan Brown out of pit road. Bryson Miller, Bailey Dog. Just like what happened to George Uriarte in the first cycle of pit stops, the same thing has now happened to Anthony McClure. A big loss on pit road. The Peugeot 1-2, that hope is going to be dashed. See if he coming out, or a bad stop for Alexander Gonzalez Green. That's going to cost him a few positions. Hazel Albright made the option to stay out. And there's a big fight happening here for P16 between Yenri Zayrus, Ethan Mingalelli, and Kalen Bevan. 3 wide for a moment there on the front straightaway, but I think that Corvette's got the job done. Maybe not. You got the Pontiac of Ethan Mingalelli on that inside in turn number 2. These three, all three of these cards have suffered some sort of ailment today, but they are all fighting every point, every position, and therefore every point matters. And they're going to continue their fight. It's Thomas Johnson out on pit road, the Orb second. Evan Brown, your big winner here, from 5th to 3rd. Bryson Miller stays where he's in 4th. Bailey Dog, big loser of this one though, Anthony McClure. Eduardo Gonzalez comes out. We got George Uriarte, Winty Wolf, Oasis Water Fountain, Gustavus Adolphus II, Yiffy Yi, Hazel Albright, AGG, Kyle Larson, and this battle here between Kalen Bevan, Ethan Mingalelli, and Yenri Zayrus. So Ethan with a big dive there on the inside, but can't quite get the job done. Kalen Bevan stays out ahead. He took a look at it, but couldn't quite piece it together there. In terms of position, everyone's got themselves sorted out. In the meanwhile, though, there's a battle here between Larson and Gonzalez Green. Right up ahead of this big fight here between the 11 and the 33. So we got the fight starting to form for what I want to say is going to be the top 10. Then we got this fight happening right behind. A lot happening on track right now. Thomas Johnson, your leader. The Orb second. Evan Brown leads the M class in 3rd. Bryson Miller 4th. Bailey Dog 5th. Anthony McClure 6th. Eduardo Gonzalez is 7th. George Uriarte P8. He has got his teammate Winty Wolf right behind in 9th. Oasis Water Fountain 10th. Gustavus Adolphus 2nd 11th. Hazel Albright 12th. AGG in P14 was Larson goes ahead and pits. That makes this battle we've been seeing here officially for 15th. And I think Kalen Bevan has it won. I don't think as much Ethan Mingalelli can offer at this point late in the race. These were one of the cars that came in at the earliest. I think the top 3, for the most part, barring a mistake from one of these guys, is all set in stone as well. There could be the potential battle for 2nd in the AM class between Bryson Miller and Bailey Dog for 4th that could form. We could also see how much Anthony McClure could try to recover after a bad pit stop there, sent him down, tumbling to 6th on the grid. And then the battle for teammates between George Uriarte and Winty Wolf for 8th. It was a really chaotic start to the race today, but it looks like it's going to come. It looks like it came down to pit strategy, and for Thomas Johnson, got 2 good stops out of it, and has dominated this race for the most part. He'll definitely take home the most laps led award. The Orb started all the way at the back. He's recovered on P number 2. He's gonna look at a very good points day score for him, and for Evan Brown, they're looking at bringing Golden Empire Motorsports the AM class win to open this race up. That being said, there is still 7 more laps to go. This race is not... Well, 6 more laps to go, my correction. Still a ways to go in this race for now. That's about 12 more minutes of racing to go. See Hazel Albright fighting Gustavus Adolphus II. This is going to be the battle for 10th place, the Pro number 14 versus the AM number 15. Ford versus Chevy. Out of turn number 2, they go through those little S-curves through there before taking the turn for sweeper. Does Hazel Albright have anything to try to get both Golden Empire cars into the top 10? That's both of what these 2 drivers are doing right now, both owner-drivers of their respective teams, trying to get both of their cars in the top 10, both sitting 2nd and 4th respectively right now, of their partner cars right now. Gustav was trying to get that team of interdimensional racing into the top 10. Hazel Albright trying to get both Golden Empire cars in the top 10. Although, in Golden Empire's case, if they get this job done, it will be both cars in the top 10. For Gustav Adolph's second, it'll be 2 of his 3 cars in the top 10. Rossi has been in the garage since the end of lap 1. He will officially end this race in 21st. Thomas Johnson out of turn number 4. You know, the big talk after the preseason test all the way out in Sonoma, California, was Peugeot's struggle in comparison to the Interdimensional Racing and Hangover Autosport cars, the two other big teams in the pro class this season. Their big talk was how far behind they were. They were both trailing the field in the pro test, although none of the teams really focused on fighting much in that. They just wanted to get some data on their cars. So, despite that talk early on, they've really regrouped, rebuilt, did a lot of work over those 2 weeks, and have now found themselves at points in this race running 1-2. A bad stop for the 54 has kind of squandered those hopes, but nonetheless, they have their 94 of Thomas Johnson out here leading the show. And if things remain the way they are, will come home your overall race winner here at Sebring. The Orb did put up a good fight with the Peugeots there for a while, but he'll have to settle for a second place finish. That being said, his last lap was his best of the day at 207.3. So he is really pushing it in comparison. The last lap for that number 94 was a 207.5, so 2/10 faster was the Orb. We'll have to keep a look on that, see if he can potentially run that Peugeot down. Evan Brown in the podium place at P number 3 right now. He will win for the AM class as it stands currently. But he's going to have to be careful, though. He's got Bryson Miller and Bailey Dog not too far behind, a lot closer than what the gap between the Orb and Thomas Johnson is right now. So, not out of the woods yet for the 51, but it's definitely shaping up to be a really good day for Golden Empire Motorsports as it stands right now. Out of the final corner, he's going to come now. He's going to tick down another lap. Thomas Johnson will trying to get this car to the finish here. Don't even see the Orb out of the tunnel yet as the camera pans through. A 207.6 for the number 94, Thomas Johnson, while the Orb will set as he comes across the line here. A 207.5. So on only 1/10 faster there for the Orb that time, but I think the gap is so big that he's gonna have to take literal seconds off of Thomas Johnson's time if he wants a shot at winning this, and he's just not putting in laps good enough to really do that. He is lapping faster than that Peugeot, but there's just not enough time to catch him at the rate it's currently going. Nearly 10 seconds is the gap as it stands right now. See Hazel Albright still trying to fight with Gustavus Adolphus 10. Not Gustavus Adolphus, but Gustavus Adolphus second, I mean, for that top 10 spot. They are catching Oasis Water Fountain in 9th. That could turn into a potential 3-car battle there, but this fight here to get into the top 10 at least is still ongoing for the most part. Does Hazel Albright have anything left in that Camaro, or does the 14 have this fight covered off? Both of them using up all the curbing they got. Yiffy waiting in the wings in case something big happens there. They've got the job done on AGG for P12. Kalen Bevan, Ethan Mingalelli, they've still been going at it. That's turned into what is now a fight for 14th. And everyone else just kind of finds themselves on an island for the most part here. There's Thomas Johnson. He'll come across now. Take 4 laps to go. Almost to the end there. He just has to keep on putting up the pace, keep it cool and collected. Last lap 2:07.9, his slowest of this stint right here. While the orb, meanwhile, will set a 2:07.8. So again, the orb is a tenth faster, but just not enough time. He's almost 10 seconds behind that Peugeot, which is not going to be enough as it stands right now. I don't see a path where he gets that job done. A potential battle that could happen though between Bryson Miller and Evan Brown potentially. 2:07.7 was the time for Evan Brown there. It was a 2:07.9 for Bryson Miller, so Evan Brown actually lapping 2 tenths faster as it stands right now. So not enough work for Bryson Miller to potentially win in the AM class. He could take home a pretty decent P4, however, though nothing to be ashamed of in that whatsoever, especially for an independent program. It looks like the battle of the top 10 has started to been won by Gustav Adolphus II. He's pulled away a little bit from Hazel Albright and has now found himself on the back bumper of Oasis Waterfountain in the Alfa Romeo, so we could probably potentially leapfrog another position up into P number 9. As they make their way here, coming to the end of this race, every position does mean a point, and in the champions, it's only an 8-race championship. You want every point you can get your hands on. So how badly does Gustavus Adolphus II want that extra point that he can get off of P9? Extra 2 points, actually. I believe it's 2 points per position in these further down spots. So that's 2 extra points in front of him that he can get if he can work on that Alfa Romeo. I believe he's definitely has a faster car. That Mustang's showing a little bit more power than the Alfa Romeo right now, although the damage on Gustavus' car is a lot more visible than the Alfa Romeo, at least right now. But Hazel Albright not far back as well. He might have won the battle between the two, but he hasn't quite pulled away. That 51 is not 51. That 15 is still there in case he makes a mistake. So if he wants to get that job done, he's got to get it correctly here. As they're going to make their way through this last corner, coming now to 3 laps to go. Turn 1, you see the 14 a little bit better on the brakes here. Both of them get that bump in the middle of one that's running a little bit wider than you want. But I think the 14 got the better exit of the two. He could have looked to the inside there, but I think it was a good job by the Alfa Romeo to block that off a little bit. Made him second guess it just enough. Out of those S's there into the turn 4 sweeper. That 15 lurking in the background, not quite close enough, however, to make a big move. Down the straightaway they go here into turn 5. A big area that has been all day today. Gives an Alfa Romeo a little shot. See, the Oasis have to climb the curb to make the corner. That allows Gustavus Adolphus II to get a peek on the inside here into turn 8. Battle for 9th right now. Hazel Albright still there, still in contention. Oasis Waterfountain with the defense, though. Stays ahead for the time being. Just needs to defend for 2.5 more laps to try and take that position of P9 home. In comparison, to see how much more time that they've got, Thomas Johnson coming to the final corner now to take 2 laps to go. That 14 all over the back bumper of Oasis Waterfountain as they make their way down the backstretch. Does that Mustang have anything left in it to get that job done? You can see bits of that rubber there kind of falling off of that Mustang as he pushes everything he can to get that job done. Gives that number 10 a bump into the final corner, but Oasis Waterfountain holds firm. Not giving it up just quite yet. Does he have an opportunity to look to the inside on the front straightaway? No, he does not. Not quite yet. 2 laps to go for these two. This is really the only battle happening on track right now. And both of them are giving it everything they got for P9 of all places. See, both of them run it really wide. That might allow Hazel Albright to try and rope it in to get to try and steal both of these positions potentially. Through turn 2, they go still all over the back bumper. Gustavus Adolphus II is on Oasis Water Fountain, as they'll make their way here to the turn 4 sweeper. What does that 14 have? How badly does he want that position? We see that number 10 have to climb the curbs yet again. That's going to allow the 14 to get another shot to the inside. And this time he's going to clear him before they get to even to the first braking zone. The 14 up in a P9, just like he wanted, but does that. But does Oasis Water Fountain have anything left to fight back with? Maybe not, because now here comes Hazel Albright poking to the inside. So already he's going to have to go defensive here on that Camaro. And I think Gustavus Adolphus II gets the job done. He finds himself up to P9 here at Sebring. Back further up front, we see Anthony McClure now working on Bailey Dog. That's going to be the fight for the top 5, meanwhile. His teammate, though, comes out of the final corner. Thomas Johnson has dominated the second and third stint of this race. He's going to take the white flag. One more lap to go for that Peugeot. The Orb back in second place. Not much he can do from here. Battle, though, for 5th. This is for the top 5. Bailey Dog in the number 69 Amcar versus Anthony McClure in the number 54 Pro Peugeot. So right now, can the Peugeot's hopes at a 1-2? They've long gone, but they have an opportunity now to get both cars to the top 5 potentially if Anthony McClure can get this job done. Through turn 1, it looks like Bailey Dog runs it a little bit wide. Does that mean McLaren gets to the inside into turn 2? He's going to go make a go for it. Side by side into the second corner they go. And McClure climbs the curb a little too much. That allows the number 69 back out ahead. Further back, Oasis Water Fountain now having to hold on to that top 10 against Hazel Albright. So 2 positions for 2 very critical positions in this race right now going on here on the final lap. Down to turn 5 for the final time here for 5th place. McClure shoves Bailey Dog wide a little bit. She has to climb the curb. Does he get that job done? Yes, he does. He finds himself in the top 5. But can Bailey Dog in this upcoming braking zone fight back at all? We saw Oasis try that earlier. She's going to give that Peugeot a bump, but it's not going to be enough. Anthony McClure back out ahead. Meanwhile, back over here for the battle for 10th. Oasis Water Fountain on the outside. Hazel Albright on the inside. Hazel has to use up a bit of that curb, but stays planted behind that number 10 for now for position 10. Got Gustavus Adolphus II right up ahead as well, though. That was a mistake from him. Could potentially turn this into an interesting situation. Back to the top 5. Anthony McClure has that job handled and done, but it's going to be his teammate Thomas Johnson who's going to come out of the final corner. He's going to take home this race win here for Peugeot at the opening round at Sebring. It's going to be Peugeot at the top step of the podium. Thomas Johnson is your winner. The Orb out of turn number 2. Good start for him for interdimensional racing. He takes home a second place finish, and Evan Brown will round out the podium and also take the win here in AM. Bryson Miller comes home 4th. Anthony McClure comes home 5th. He got the job done on Bailey Dog. Eduardo Gonzalez P7, George Ugarte P8, Gustavus Adolphus P9, and Oasis Water Fountain holds off Hazel Albright to finish in the top 10. Battle here for 12th potentially between AGG and Yiffy Yi. It's going to go to Yi. AGG will have to settle for P13. Kalen Bevan will come home in the 14th place there in the other Hangover Autosport Corvette. Ethan Mingalelli rounds out the top 15. LK Water Fountain will come home in a P16. Wendy Wolf limping across the backstraight right now. He'll come home P17. It'll be Larson 18th. Yenri Zaverus 19th. Hamilton and Rossi 20th and 21st respectively. They will not finish this race. Both of them are out. But it is Thomas Johnson, your winner here. There was a lot of doubts for Peugeot after the test at Sonoma. Will this team struggle out the gates? What will they have to do to get themselves back up to the front? In just one race, those thoughts have been silenced as Peugeot is your inaugural Trans Am Championship winner here at Sebring, winner in the overall and the pro class as well. Further back in third, Evan Brown for Golden Empire is your AM class winner. They get the job done for them as well. Couldn't get both Golden Empire cars in the top 10 thanks to a defense from Oasis Water Fountain, but they will happily take home a class win nonetheless. So great opening race there. I thank you all for watching. I haven't had really much of an opportunity to check the chat at all today because there's been no safety cars for me to step over and do so, but I'd say for the racing product, outside of the chaos that was turn 5 on the opening laps, this was a pretty good opening race for us. Still a lot of work to go on as we come on through the next few races. We will head over to round number 2. Let me take a quick look where we're going to be at next real quick. So next weekend, we'll make the trip up north to Montreal, Canada, to go to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for round number 2. After that, we have race number 3 at Monza, round number 4 back at Canada at Troy Riviere. We have a midway season break at Lime Rock Park for the Trans Am Endurance Cup. Race 5 will be at Mexico City. Race 6, Watkins Glen. Race 7, Queensland. And then we end off the season at Road Atlanta. So only one race down so far. Still a long way to go. But overall, a very good race 1, especially for Team Peugeot here at Sebring. I thank you all for watching, and we will be seeing you in the next one.